you have to understand who your market is, right? And who you're talking to. And we're talking to parents. Parents aren't going on TikTok and looking for after school programs, right?
Yes.
They're going on TikTok and looking at what other funny parent things are going on. Right? They're not looking for that.
All right, guys, welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, brought to you by A Advanced Services and Fuse Networks, and our newest sponsor. Joe, who's our newest sponsor?
Warrior Injury Law.
All right, so before we get going, Joe, tell us how we got our podcast journey started.
Sure. So it first started out as a Facebook group page. Purpose was to bring business owners together to communicate, talk, ask questions, share tips on how to be a better business or entrepreneur. Because we are a marketing company, we get asked questions outside of marketing. So in a selfish way, we wanted to bring on different guest speakers to talk about different topics that are relevant to business that can help another fellow entrepreneur out.
Awesome. And today we have another local business. We love having in-studio guests and everything. So David, please introduce yourself to our audience, what your business is. Yeah.
It would be Brian.
It'd be Brian.
Oh, Brian, sorry.
He hasn't even had a drink yet on
Oh,
James
man.
Day.
Oh man,
Edit that out.
where's the date
Or
drinking
don't
going?
edit.
Oh, that was our next guest I'm thinking of. So
Yeah, that is.
Miss Philippines, Miss Universe. Oh, my bad. One of those moments.
Yeah.
My name is Brian Myers. I am with Tabletop Village. I am the owner of Tabletop Village, and we sell Pokemon cards and teach kids how to play Pokemon, kids and families, how to play Pokemon all over the state.
Nice.
And actually, we've branched out into other states now. So
Nice. So tell us real quick, how did you get started in doing what you're doing?
my son was into Pokemon about it's 9 years now, almost 9 years. He was really into it. We decided that we would play some games. We learned how to play. He really loved it. He got really good at it. And we went around playing all over Washington, playing Pokemon. We found out real quickly that there are no other Pokemon stores. And we're like, oh man, well, one day maybe we can start our own Pokemon business. And then at that time we owned a Taekwondo studio, and it was kind of failing. People were kind of getting out of Taekwondo.
Right.
And we had an opportunity to like use the space continuously after, and then the pandemic came.
Yeah.
And we killed it. Like everybody bought everything. It's like it was a time to collect stuff.
Right.
Everybody was trapped indoors, and we did well because what we did was instead of like, basically a lot of stores scalped their customers to get business.
Right.
And we decided to just keep it kind of like good, like even
Yeah.
and
Be
be
up and
fair
up. Yeah.
and stay and try to grow community during the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we did.
So bring community back together.
Bring the community back together, sell them things appropriately, and then once the pandemic was over, we were the only ones that were like that had a game store and actually started rolling like actual games where everybody else didn't want to. They were happy just selling stuff and not having to like have people in their store. We welcomed it. And
So how would people, if they didn't go to a physical store, acquire Pokemon cards or trade Pokemon cards? I know they have different pop-up events around the area and everything, but there was no brick and mortar Pokemon store in Seattle as big as the growing hobby was.
What about
No.
those
card shows?
card stores back in, like there was one at Northgate. I forget what it's called. Something
Like a
Wizard
comic and
Coast?
card.
Wizards.
Yeah, Wizards was a big one, like in the late '90s, early 2000s. But Wizards closed all their retail stores.
Oh, shoot.
And so a lot of the trading card game stores were often some of them were like already established card stores for baseball cards, comic books, and other things. And then when Magic the Gathering came out, a lot of these different card stores started picking up trading card games.
Right.
And as it kind of developed, I mean, this is 25 years later, like trading card games are like, that's a $1 billion industry now.
Right.
right?
All
And
ages.
all ages, and it ranges. And that's what's really cool about what we did was there was no Pokemon store. There were all these stores all over. I think there's 18 of us in like just King County alone. But we're the only one that focused on Pokemon. Everyone else is mostly focused on Magic the Gathering. And so when we got it going, like we killed it. And plus we already were part of the community.
Yeah.
Like we were playing with everyone. Everyone knew who we were. It didn't take us long. Now we're 5 years in, and we're looking to expand into another location. We've already expanded into, now it's 3 different states.
Nice.
Denver.
What states are those? Oh,
Denver, Florida, Chicago, Illinois, Chicago.
nice.
Yeah.
You guys are in Florida now? Word.
Yeah.
So you have
Where-
4 locations in.
No, not actual locations. That's where we're teaching.
Okay.
So what we decided to do was that like we saw that what is also missing is if you want kids to play the game and know how to play, you gotta start teaching them at an earlier age.
Right.
And they're not necessarily going like all these kids. They know Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's like everybody knows Disney, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows Pokemon. Pokemon is one of the biggest IPs in the world. They have cartoons. They have video games. They have
Video games.
apps, right? They have 4 different apps that you can play, but huge in video games. And so all these kids, and these kids have grown up to become adults. But if you really want people to continually grow a community, you gotta start teaching them in the schools.
Right.
So we're in 22 schools this
wow.
quarter in Seattle.
Holy
Yeah, we're
shit.
after school program. We run.
dope.
Someday we'll be able to look at these and go back and be like, oh yeah, we were way ahead of our time.
You're the one of the first. Yeah.
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 But we got 22 schools, over 300 something students that we teach in elementary schools and middle
Yeah.
schools.
Wow.
And then the same thing in the other schools in the other states.
Did you ever think from starting that could be this big and even bigger than what it currently is?
Oh yeah, that was a plan. I think we didn't just want it. It was like as it came, we recognized there was a need for it, right? And it's my background is more into community organizing.
Yeah.
I went to college to become a high school counselor, right? Like I started off after college going to like White Center and teaching kids in Evergreen in the alternative school.
So that's just what you knew what to do.
Yeah,
that.
it's always been part of me to like work
Yeah.
with young people, right? Like, and that's what I do best is build relationships with young people and their parents. And we just grew on that, and I felt like I always wanted to go back into the schools and work with the kids because I feel like that's the best way to like. At the end of it, it's with Pokemon, but the idea is to like grow good community, right? With things that people love to do and are happy doing. And
So Pokemon's just a way to get there on
it's
a way.
It's a vehicle. It's just like basketball, right?
Yeah.
A lot of basketball coaches don't coach because they get paid a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Like most basketball coaches coach AAU teams
To get
right?
kids together.
To get the kids together, right? To foster happiness and joy,
Friendships.
friendships, right? Travel, memories, right? These are the things that you can get from playing with Pokemon cards, right? Our kid, who's 14 years old now, has traveled like literally the world. We have traveled the world playing Pokemon with like all kinds of people, and it's all been out of like wanting to do it for, the fun and the happiness and the love that it brings. We weren't expecting it to make money, and it still doesn't really make a whole lot of money,
Right.
but it's growing.
Yeah.
Like at some point, we could always just stop hiring people, and then I could have paid myself.
And everything else that comes around it, though, is all pretty valuable.
Oh, it's all
the community
amazing.
that you're
the
building.
community,
The shop
community.
that you have, the physical
Yes.
location. It's
Yeah.
an amazing
Oh,
venue.
yeah, it's a
I think it's a
hub.
great venue.
Yeah.
Venue.
Are you building so some companies will just create a company because it's something they want to do now and they want to pass it down to the next generation and the next generation, and some people build companies to sell it. Are you building it more to be a generational wealth, or are you building it to more just I'm going to build it to this point and I'm going to sell?
I think we'll generational wealth it. I mean I have a 14-year-old and a 6-year-old now, and I think that this one could last probably a good long time, as long as another trading card game business like Pokemon, because there might be one that surpasses it. Maybe not. I don't think so. Not one that's already like
Established.
established itself 25 years, almost 30 now, is gonna like have a hard time. You're gonna have a hard time knocking that one out. And we have a good relationship with the Pokemon company. So no, I don't think I'll ever sell it. I mean, it'd have to be ridiculous. Like if I guess if Pokemon wanted to buy it at some point and say, hey, you can grow it and run it and continue like to do whatever
Under
it's
our
gonna
umbrella
do,
kind of thing.
under our umbrella, and we could just actually become incorporated and part of Pokemon, and we did it like, then that would give us like, kind of like the seed to kind of like take it as far as we can go.
Yeah.
I just feel like we can, and I know this like as an independent small business, I can move faster than Pokemon can move. Right, they have to go through.
Because you're a little more
legalese.
nimble now,
Yeah.
being a
Nimble.
small guy.
Yeah, I'm a small guy, so I can have a bunch of different people working in a bunch of different states. Whereas like Pokemon, like they have to scale things very very slowly.
You have
for
to
it
go
work.
through different channels and get approvals and
Get
grow. And
approvals.
you just,
Yeah,
if I want to do this, it's something I just implement.
I just implement it, and if Pokemon say, hey, you can't do that anymore, I just go into the next game.
Okay.
There's several.
Well, you
Springtime.
guys look parched. So I've made.
I am parched.
We're gonna have 2 drinks hopefully, but I made the first drink. I asked you before what a good motivational quote is. So we have Advent Services Pump Me Up Quote of the Day. Before I serve these and talk about these, is there a favorite motivational quote of yours that you like?
I was thinking, I was like, God, what quote am I gonna use? Like, I don't know many quotes. You know, what my favorite quote is. My favorite quote is to be like water. Be like water, my friend. Right?
Explain why you like that.
And because I even tell this to my employees, right? You have to be as a owner and a business person, and I believe this, like even the best salespeople, right? You have to be very very flexible, right? You have to be able to change and mold, and then be strong or be soft. And I feel like that's one of the main ingredients that I'm always trying to teach even my kids is like you have to be able to be flexible. Right?
Especially after the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that's what you did with your taekwondo business.
Good pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah, had to pivot.
All right, so I'll tell you guys what we're drinking. So this is my favorite cocktail. My go-to cocktail is a Pandan Old Fashioned. So being Filipino, the flavors of the Philippines, try to incorporate it. Pandan is kind of like a nutty flavor, almost like a Filipino hazelnut, though it's not a nut. So what we have is first with a Rittenhouse 100 proof rye whiskey, about 2 ounces or so, generous pour. Got about a 0.5 ounces of Pandan simple syrup, so a homemade Pandan extract simple syrup that I made.
With your own label, I see.
Yeah, I got a label, just for fun. It was my pandemic hustle. I have 3 kinds of bitters that I put in here. The black walnut bitters, which will bring out the nutty flavor, Angostura bitters, classic bitters, and an orange bitters. Finished with an expressed orange peel that I peeled and twisted with Luxardo cherry and, of course, a pandan leaf to make it all look good. So cheers, everyone. Tell me what you think.
Cheers.
I don't even know what a pandan is.
Since we're filming this in October, which is Filipino-American History Month, so
Oh, it is.
it is a nod to that. So cheers.
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 Cheers. Adelaide's in the back over there. She's behind the scenes.
I know. I have to mention her at some point. She's gonna get mad at me.
She has a drink too.
She asked me about.
She's not going to be on camera, but she's cheersing it too. So
What was your wife's favorite quote she wanted you to say?
I don't know. Yeah, my probably happy wife, happy life. Make me happy. She was just saying. I was like, that's why I go to work every day.
Right?
Just for you, babe.
So technically, Tabletop Village is a pandemic baby. It grew out of that, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
It was before, but then it blew up during the pandemic. Is that
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. The idea was already there, and it would be great if this worked out. Before that, I was selling sausage for Uli's Famous Sausage.
Okay.
Right, and I've already entrepreneured a few things and done a lot of different stuff. Working with like folks like 99.9, the Men's Room radio station. Right, we did stuff with them. Working with the Seahawks, we did stuff with them. Working with University of Washington. Working with WSU and doing Cougar Gold all along with my wife. Like we would go and we had all these places set up at the stadiums. We did sausages, so it was great. It was great. And when the pandemic came, it's like, oh man, all
No
that
more
stuff
events.
closed. Like, all that stuff was done. We're like,
Quickly.
oh man, what are we gonna do now?
Yeah.
And so we doubled down on the Pokemon.
So you went from sausage to Pokemon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, I went from relationship building to relationship building.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
with
There you
different
go.
people.
Related, yeah.
That's it.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So, why is marketing important? Is
Yeah.
the next thing.
So our did you know questions, right? Or
Yeah.
our So to get to know you better.
Millions of cyber criminals are out there on a daily basis trying to steal your information. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Small businesses account for 58% of cyber attacks annually. So help your company fight cybercrime and mitigate risk by being proactive. Call Fuse Networks, your local Seattle IT experts at 206-701-6040 for a complimentary IT network and security assessment.
Why is marketing important for a business?
It's not. It's everything.
Love it.
Man, marketing is so important in it, and I want to say like a lot of people treat it differently, right? One of the favorite things for me to watch is like you see TikTok and there's that lady that keeps popping up that like she explains marketing through a carnival, right? You seen that one? Oh man, you guys gotta watch that. You put it on there, like
Yeah, we'll pin it
like,
on here on our page.
You'll see it. This is where like you put a sign on a elephant and then the elephant walks through and that's marketing, and then you have it walk through the marriage thing and that's like publicity, and then so on and so forth. But the whole thing is like marketing. And to me, marketing has always been, yes, we do some social media stuff, and actually we do as far as a Pokemon store, we do a lot of social media stuff in comparison.
Right.
Could we do more? Probably. We also, we advertise on our own website, right? We send out emails. We do events that bring in more people. I mean, effectively the after school program is also a marketing,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
So everything to us is marketing. I would say you do it, but you have to realize that it is what it is. It is that, right? Because a lot of people don't realize that they're actually marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're doing stuff, but they're not doing it with intention.
Yeah.
They're just accidentally doing stuff. Sometimes someone just needs to tell them, like, well, you should put that into the marketing plan.
Yeah. Or you should write whatever you spent
Yes.
into the marketing budget because you're telling people
Exactly.
somehow.
Yeah. So it can fit that way. And for me, I think I don't like to call it marketing because then everybody starts to believe that you're doing it marketing for sales.
Right.
Right? And I'm not necessarily marketing to make money. I market to build community, right? I market to get the word out what we're doing,
Right.
more than about like, oh, does the marketing translate to dollars? The dollar sign is like, for me, is like way down here.
Right.
Like, are we talking to enough people where those people feel comfortable about coming into the store? And then does that translate to them building relationships with other people at the store? And then do we have a bigger community because of it?
Right.
Right? That will someday translate to dollars. I don't care.
Right. But that's not your
much.
initial intent.
That's not the intent. Right?
So for all the stuff that you've done, growing your business, what has been the most successful marketing or type of way to get the business out? What has worked the best for you guys?
On the after school program, and it's word of mouth.
Okay.
Right? I mean, we started in last year this time in 4 schools, and about, I would say, out of the maybe 15 students each, so about 60 total. And those schools led to those students talking to other kids their age that play basketball or soccer with them, and then they would tell their friends about the Pokemon club that they have in their school, and then they would tell their parents, and their parents would come into the store and be like, hey, my kid said that they have a Pokemon kid at his friend's school, can we have one too? And that's how we got like the rest of the 20 schools, right? It's like it It just ramps from there.
That's just straight up guerrilla marketing.
That's all it is.
Word of mouth marketing.
Word of mouth marketing, right? But not many people be like, oh, we saw your advertisement that you guys were doing Pokemon on TikTok, so we wanted to like inquire about it. We've done that, and we've got very few, right? Because it's, again, when it comes to like, you have to understand who your market is, right, and who you're talking to, and we're talking to parents. Parents aren't going on TikTok and looking for after school programs, right?
Yes.
They're going on TikTok and looking at what other funny parent things are going on. Right. They're not looking for that. Right. It's even like when Yelp hits you up on things like, oh, we would love to give you some advertising. Why don't you advertise to Yelp? And I'm like, because moms aren't. Are you going to advertise to the mom that's not looking for Pokemon but that's looking for like toys?
Right.
Because if you can't target that, then it doesn't matter.
It's not the right connection.
It's not the right connection, right? They're like, oh, we just target everybody in the area for these things. I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for. But it's like those parents are going to talk to other parents, and the parent-teacher conferences and the parent-teacher, like, PTAs, they're going to talk to other people on PTAs. They're going to be like, this program is awesome. And that's what they did. Like, they just literally told everybody, and they said it was awesome, and now we have...
Now the other schools want to get it to adopt it and everything.
Tell me, what does what are the skills that playing Pokemon provide someone? I know there's got to be some. There's strategy and all this stuff.
There's so many.
Thinking.
So, math, right? Math. They have to do math. A lot of math. You got to do damage counters plus minus 10 times 10 up to like 300-400 damage.
Right.
That there's that understanding. That's basic math. And then you go into deep math where you're looking at ratios and numbers, right? They make a constructed deck of 60 cards. These guys who are like at the top of their game are calculating the odds of drawing cards out of their deck, right? When they break down what they've taken out of their deck and what they have left, that's how they end up being.
So they know the probability of. I have a 30% probability I'm going to get my goatee card, or 60%. And then setting it up. Maybe I shouldn't play this, and you're thinking 3 steps ahead. So there's like deductive reasoning.
There's a lot of deductive reasoning. It's a lot of, and then on top of that, right, the social skills, right? Not just playing with other people and winning with other people. It's also learning how to take loss, right? How to deal with being upset, right? And a lot of these kids, like, again, the range of kids who play this game, and even adults, right? You can be working with kids who are, neurodivergent, who like they have a hard time processing like, loss. Like there are kids who like break down and cry.
It's the extreme.
They haven't even lost the game yet. They just lost the Pokemon.
Everything's like a life or death decision, even if it's the littlest thing. And then conversely, there's those kids who are emotionally unsensitive, who just don't show anything or disconnected, and
so there's all this different learning like that are associated with Pokemon, which is, and that's why a lot of like the math teachers they all get it. A lot of the science teachers, they all get it, and honestly, there's a lot of teachers who play Pokemon. And because they're at that age, right? So we have players who are in their mid-30s that are having kids now, right? That are like, they come to the store.
They played growing up.
They played growing up and they play now. And it's like, and they're like, yeah, this is the best thing for kids. This was what helped me, learn to read.
Steph, if you're watching, I got a video idea for you. 3 benefits to playing Pokemon.
He's going to do it now. See? Now he has to.
Now he has to. It's on the video.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good
so
content.
A lot.
That's their social media person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some, if you could tell a new business owner who's just starting out, what's like some good advice that you can give to young entrepreneurs? Besides the don't do it.
I was going to say, don't do it.
Day drinking.
Don't do it.
Day drinking is important.
The best advice, and I want to say, probably the best advice that I was ever given was, and besides my dad ever telling me this, make sure you work hard.
Yeah.
But you also have to love
what you do.
What you do.
Right.
And you have to have passion for it. And then you got to put that same love and passion into what you do. Right? And you have to put the same love and passion into the relationships you build. Right? Because if you're not, like, the fast way to, like, make money is to lie and cheat and steal your way through those relationships,
right,
and negotiate those things. Like, you can make a lot of money really fast.
Yeah.
No one's going to love you after. Right? And I know those people. I know there are people who, like, they cheated to what they got.
right.
And yes, they have a lot. But everybody knows that. Everybody knows that's
they
who
lost
they are.
those relationships.
How do they feel? They
Yeah.
probably don't feel
Empty.
that great. Yeah.
They probably do, and they do feel empty. Like, you're gonna have a lot of money, great for you. They got money, right? I might not have a lot of money. I got great friendships, right? And I have great relationships. And even when people, like, try to, like, say things wrong or say things bad, like, people be like, we know that's you. That's not Brian. Like,
Yeah.
you probably, like, did something wrong, and the community will then protect you. The community will show up for you, and then when times get really, really rough, they're there for you, and you have those relationships. So that's, if you're gonna entrepreneur, you got to put the love in it. Like, otherwise, if you don't love it, then just don't do it. Like, or you, again, cheat your way through it and see if you get loved at the end.
So as a business owner, I've asked this lately from all our guests, what has been the most satisfying thing being a business owner?
The most satisfying thing?
Right.
I guess for me, the most satisfying thing is that I get to spend time with, like, my family and my friends, right? As much as I want to. Like, I go to work 7 days a week for 12 hours, and then I'll take a nice long break, with my friends or my family. Every once in a while, I'll go to Vegas, like, go 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And just to get away from it all.
Unplug, reset.
Reset, let the mind rest, and then get back to work. But I think that's, to me, the most satisfying thing, right? Like, if you can get all the things done that you need to get done, and then take breaks with, like, the people that you love, well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's the best.
You don't have to ask for time off. You can take time off once you either want to take it or you've earned it.
Yep.
I think that's the best part of being an entrepreneur. And then you could, if you want to go, take a 2-week vacation, you can take a 2-week vacation.
You can take a 3-week vacation.
Right? Versus a corporate world where you have to put in for your vacation. It has to be approved during certain times of the year.
Yeah.
You have that luxury where you could just travel when you want to travel.
Why is it important? Because entrepreneurs, they just go 7 days a week.
Because you need to recharge.
Why is it important to take a break?
It's I think, to me, the most important thing, the reason why you take breaks is not just for you, but not and for your family. It's also this is also 3 weeks for my workers to, like, do what you guys need to do to make sure that you can prove what you're doing is correct, right? Without me. Yeah. I look at it that way too. When I come back and I'm like, oh, are we in shambles or are we good? Oh, look, we're good. Oh, good job. Oh, good job, you. You did a great job while I was
Then
gone.
you've done your job training your people well.
Then you know that what you're doing is correct. So I feel beyond the self, like, mental health side of it, of getting away for some time, also for your family to be with them for some time, is also, like, get away from your employees for some time.
Right.
Let them work. Like, let them know, because sometimes they struggle and they're like, man, they call you 5 times.
So you're basically building a business to where it can run on your own, and if it can run on its own, then you've done your job as, like,
yes, and then you can, and then I can assume that if I can leave for 2 weeks or even a week, and then I'll be able to go to another location, set up a new store, get that one all up and running, and I won't have to worry about the first one, like.
Yeah, you've built a scalability process of
working on it, but hopefully it's a thing.
When I first met y'all, it was just the two of you, and the turning point. Describe that whole, like, we're gonna hire somebody. That turning point. when did you say, no, we got to hire somebody, and why did you go there? And so,
well, about 2 years, it for the most part was Adelaide and I, and then we brought on one other person, and that person I hired because honestly they were at the store all the time, so it was like, man, you kind of working
so
for
they have
free.
the passion. They
had the passion, they had the drive. They were doing it for a very long time, and then they were doing it for a year up until they decided that they were gonna take a break, and I was like, cool, well, maybe we should bring in some people to help. And I was even at that time, I was like, man, we were kind of growing faster than we needed to grow, and I was like, I think we need more brains. Not just we needed more people to like, sit at a counter and do mindless things, but I was like,
business development stuff.
Yeah, we need more brains to work on more things. And so we started bringing in different folks to do different things. And then I soon realized that, like, I need people who are specialized in some things, right? And so at one point we were like, okay, I need to hire someone who is just going to, like, work on the store and making sure the store is, like, nice and clean the way I like it. Right? And then someone was going to do the advertising and the marketing and the social media. So I brought in Steph, right? And then someone's going to come in and buy the things that I needed to, like, buy outside of, like, my store, right? So I brought on Junior, right? And I brought on Derek to assist Cameron with the store. And Derek was, like, doing all the outside sales, kind of like the internet stuff and everything. So we could stop doing all those things individually, right? And I think, and then I brought in Owen to teach the after school programs that we wanted to get going. And so now everybody has all these individual jobs. The latest one we brought on was Kobe, who does all the financial work. He's a recent graduate from UW. And I'm like, so we have all these people doing all these things. My wife is yelling at me something. I don't know what she just wants me to say. Oh, and Elliot, we brought in Elliot to also help with the Sunday school programs. So we brought on all these different folks, and now I think we have, honestly, I think I was just looking at it, besides like the 9 like local employees, we have a total of like 17.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
In 2 years?
Yeah.
That's
17.
That's a pretty rapid growth.
Yeah.
well, you went from 2
Yeah. Like
from
17.
2, and you're like,
Yeah.
just pulling your hair out, like, hey.
I think this is way better, right? Like it's and so everybody knows this. That like I want to bring on more employees before like I can start taking some money. But I feel like at the rate that we're going, the more people I can bring on, and we're the only, like, when I look at it, we're like, not many people hire folks to work on doing Pokemon stuff.
Right.
So, and all the people we bring on, they're into it. They love Pokemon. They're passionate about Pokemon.
They're skilled at what they do, but they also have a passion for Pokemon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
I mean,
it's kind of awesome. I'm like,
that is an awesome thing.
I'm employing Pokemon lovers.
Yeah.
So the question I'll ask for you is, if you could speak to other entrepreneurs that are looking to hire, just explain to them how you let go and you wanted to then to put that trust on someone else. Does that make sense?
I think if again, it goes back to one, did you build the correct community and the right relationships? And in those relationships, did you find the right people that like have the same passion and love for what you do? Now, I don't ask any of my workers to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Like that's not your requirement. Your job is to come to work, love what you do, be passionate about the time that you are here, and think of like other new ways and exciting ways that would make your job more enjoyable. Right? And when you find those people who are willing to do that, willing to be passionate about what they do, about loving what you've done already, and they're jumping,
because they become stakeholders too in their mind, right? You're not the owner of the business and I work for you. It's like I'm part of this community and we all want to help it grow.
Yeah, we want to help it
different than I'm clocking in, clocking out.
Because you could teach someone to do a task. You can't teach someone to have passion about it.
You can't teach.
No,
I can't we've seen a few folks come and go, and passion does come and go, right? Like we've had someone very passionate, loved it, was there for a long time, ended up getting married.
Yeah.
Passion turned somewhere else, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
I get that. Like you need that for you and your family.
Life happens. So.
Life happens. Life stuff happens. But that's the most important thing is like if you as an entrepreneur want your business to grow and you want to hire people, because you will need the help. You can't you can't do it all yourself. Not if you're growing. Not at the rate we went. We went way too fast. We went from like 400 to 2, like this.
Yeah.
If you want to grow, you have to have other people help you, but they have to love what you love. And they do. They have to feel like they're part of the community, and they're growing that community with the same passion because they want to see it grow, right?
Right. Awesome
That's
stuff.
what we have. That's our employees.
So just feedback on the drink. What do you guys think?
Oh, it's great. When's the next one? Let's take
Oh,
it.
I got a round 2 if you guys are up for it. So
I'm in for round 2.
So
bring
this
it
is
on.
me right
I'll
here.
put yours here.
Man,
This will be a bourbon one now.
Good deal.
Good. Okay.
While you're doing that, I have a question because I think this applies to lots of business out there. What's it like working with your spouse, and how do you keep right? How do you keep business in the business and don't bring it home?
you don't.
We got a snicker from off camera. If you guys didn't hear that.
Man, you don't. Like,
Or how do you balance then that work-life balance? Because as an entrepreneur, there's lots of businesses that are just maybe the husband or wife and then not, but some instances where you have where the husband and wife work together on the business,
yeah.
right? So
Or
we don't-
even in this chair,
Right.
father-daughter.
right?
you know,
So we don't
working
even hear about the
together.
drama that happens, but
Yeah.
how do you keep it? I guess how do you keep it positive and cohesive?
One, you work every day at it. Like, I think it's something that we have to understand that like we each have certain roles, and I try to. We both have to understand, even myself sometimes, that you can't always have the perfect business relationship with your spouse, right? They're going to disagree with some of the things that you do, and you're going to disagree with some of the things that they do.
Yeah.
And to be able to talk that out, right, and be okay with it, and then not hate each other after saying like, well, you never listen to me. Well, you never listen to me. Well, you never. Those things are gonna happen. Just has to always, be in your head that like, it's just like any other business conversation. Like they have to be business conversations.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I think this is a better idea, and you have to be open and willing because it's not like your regular relationship stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like where you want to go eat. This is, like
Yeah,
We
this
could-
is the income that's going to bring
yeah,
you
this
your
is
family.
this things these things kind of matter a little bit more
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And so knowing also when to like let things go, to allow your spouse to also work and find what they seem passionate about and what they love. So if you go to our our space, right?
Yeah.
In Chinatown, you will go and you'll see all these beautiful artwork like painted onto the walls and all the stuff that's up there, right? Like my wife does that. Like she's the artist. And that's why she's like, when she's like, well, what do you think about this and that, about this and here and there? Yeah, oh, that would be so great. I don't say that. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But I probably should say
In other
it, right?
words,
Like- But again, I think you as a team, a duo, right? Knowing what each other is going to be doing, and then trusting that like they're doing the right thing for the business. No one's trying to like hurt the business and
Right.
do bad things. And then
the umbrella intent though is the main, like, hey, we're trying to grow this together.
I mean,
Yeah.
basically what you talked about, the biggest thing I heard is compromise.
Compromise?
Right? Compromise, which is
Yep.
what fails in most marriages.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Is they can't compromise.
And communication.
Yeah, yeah, and most marriages lack communication.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been guilty of that at times too, so I understand. So if you can have those two things within the business and give each other time to, I guess, grow,
Yes.
right, then I think it'll be successful.
Yeah, and we also involve our kids too, right? So our kids are also a part of the
Well,
business.
if your kids play Pokemon, I heard, right?
Yeah.
They could be like, I think you should incorporate this in the business, and however they're going to word it.
Yeah.
Right? Because if
Exactly.
something that they're looking for, then other kids are also looking for that same thing.
I think that's an amazing thing to be able to have. I mean, obviously, because my daughter was a big part of this business, but to have them involved is a huge part of a relationship, right?
Yeah.
To instead of just coming home after you've worked your office job for another company and someone asking you about the business or how was your work day, they actually commiserate with you together.
Yeah.
And you could, I like the word riff together with your family, because my wife is also.
Let's cheers to that though, real quick. Cheers, boys. This is a bourbon old fashioned, bourbon pandan old fashioned. So
Pandan.
change it from rye whiskey to 100 proof old granddad bourbon.
I think the bourbon
Cheers.
is better.
It should be a little sweeter.
like it.
The
than
next one,
rye's
take
a
the
little
nuts
drier.
out for me.
Ah, yes.
Take the nutty thing out for me.
What's the nutty thing? The pandan?
The pandan.
Pandan.
This is good.
I like this one.
See, I like the taste of alcohol. I mean, as I said before, I need the taste of alcohol to trigger my brain that,
You're drinking alcohol.
oh, you're about to relax. You're about to hang out, right? If it's too sweet, you just are like, wait, am I just refreshing am I rehydrating?
Yeah.
Or, But the taste of alcohol means, oh, we're about to kick it. Pounds.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Glad you guys enjoy it.
Adelaide. Cheers.
Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience about being a business owner, running it with a spouse, joy is brought to your life?
Yes. It's been such a joy to my life to be running a business with my spouse.
Is the right thing to say.
It's the right thing to say.
You could take the cue card down. You read it perfectly
Got it.
verbatim.
Thank you.
I mean, for me, I want to say there's nothing more joyful than like doing the business with my family and seeing it grow. I just know that like at my age, right, we're all, as we get older, how do we do the succession plan, right? Where do we leave it in between, me and my kid's 14 years old, like he got another 20 years. In 20 years,
Maybe 2 more years bring them into it.
Well, he's already into it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like 20 years before I give it to him. Like, am I gotta run this business for 20 more years? I think I know for me as myself, as we're growing this thing, as we're looking at opening another store in Denver, as we're looking at opening a store, on the East Coast and another one maybe down in California, how we want to like make it so that the people in charge are going to probably be my employees at some point, right? Just make sure you're bringing wise choices then. You got to have the right people. So what about you guys? Because it's me talking. I'm like, what would your masterminds look at my business and go, Brian could probably use a bunch of capital and do a bunch of marketing, and then we could take his business. What would you see?
I mean, I know what my first thing. I mean, I look at you're building community, which I think is more important than the money side of things.
Yeah.
Because most companies build a company to make money. Most companies don't build a company to build a community.
Yeah.
Or they're not building a company to train other people to do what they do.
Yeah.
No, they do marketing as a function to increase sales directly. Like you go to a website, process a transaction.
Right.
So
I mean, if I put my marketing hat on, right, what you could do
you never take it
differently-
off. so.
It never comes off. I'm always thinking marketing. I would say like understanding who's visiting your website. So like we have tools for that, but you understanding who's visiting your website so you could build up your email marketing.
Yeah.
So like let's say you get how many hits a month you get to your website? Do you know?
Don't even know.
So let's say you did 10,000, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but let's say you did 10,000, and out of those 10,000, if you're doing 1,000 sales a month, it would probably be good to know what the other 9,000 people are doing, what pages they're visiting, how long they're spending on your website, so that way you can understand how you can maybe improve upon your website. But more importantly, then you're capturing their data, and you're turning them you're adding them to your email marketing campaign.
Or
right? That's one aspect.
building your community,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because no one who visits is as a first function of, all right, there's prospective people who will join your community and everything.
Yeah.
That's just the value we see in like the data part of it of, who the heck's landing on your page, where they are. Or if you do an event like World Championships or regional events, you pass out flyers or people know, oh, that's a tabletop competitor, or oh, that's your son. You usually get a bounce in hits of, you see the sweatshirts, like they're going to Google Tabletop Village, and you can see, oh, this event, we had 2,000 more people on the site. I wonder where they came from. And you say, oh, they're from California or they're from Denver. Then you use that as part of your, your social media person, like, oh, Denver is like trending. So let's create content catered to that audience. So that's how you use it. Not necessarily paid advertising, but the data, the info.
The data to also find out what's our next location that we could hit, that we already hit Florida, Chicago, Denver. Oh, the website is getting a lot of hits from New Orleans. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have more traffic coming from
New
one
Orleans.
area, right, then you could push content out specific to that community.
Yeah, and that's not paid, but your social media person, like Florida's just popping right now for whatever reason. We know there's going to be a tournament there in 3 months. You go hot and heavy with, hey, in 2 months we're going to be here. Vote for this and enter this, and we'll be here. We're going to give away something. So that way you create anticipation, and now they're feeding in like, follow us to subscribe to learn more, grand opening special, or whatever promotions you want to run.
Yeah.
And you just build it that way. Because the viral nature will come where at the events they're like, okay, I followed you guys already.
See how I got this free marketing for you at home. Got you some free marketing advice. Remember that.
And then I would say even see who else you could partner with, right? So like you see a value in what you're doing for Pokemon as it incorporates, like I didn't even think of, like math and how to think on the spot about things, right?
Yeah.
So you found a need and you're filling that need. So like maybe like a
tutoring company, maybe.
A tutoring company, or like Tim Kennedy, if you know who Tim Kennedy is, but he opened up schools and he's opened up more schools because he doesn't like how public schools are run nowadays, right? So you partner with a company like that where you can bring your teaching of Pokemon into his curriculum.
Yeah.
I think kids.
I
think teachers and parents are looking for more creative ways to keep kids engaged. And like Pokemon, oh my gosh! If I'm learning math,
well, that's not a game you could AI, because now kids eat AI stuff for homework now. But you do this game, you actually have to use your brain. You can't tell me which card to play unless you play the app. I mean, this is real, so you're using like real skills and not depending on something. So
and let's get these folks away from the
screens.
From the screen in their house. Let's get out the social aspect too, because a lot of kids are losing that whole social. They're hiding behind a phone.
Screen.
They're hiding behind a screen. They're hiding behind a keyboard. Let's get them in front of.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. To that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I like clicking my glass.
Well, that almost concludes our day drinking episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. Our Warrior Injury Law guest in studio. We love it.
Injured? Call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested.
And we get to drink and enjoy good company. So on behalf of our other sponsors, Adrian.
How do we find them?
Oh, that's right.
How do we
give
find
a plug
them?
to
So look into that.
where people could find you online and where your store is located
you?
physically.
We are located in Seattle's Chinatown International District, 616 8th Avenue South. And you can find us on our website, tabletopvillage.com. You can also find us on Instagram at Tabletop Village LLC. And
If you're driving down Jackson, bust that left on Weller.
on Weller.
Yeah. Gotcha.
All right. So there we go.
No, 8th.
Eighth.
8th.
8th and Lane.
If you're going down Jackson, though.
Going down Jackson, take a left
You're
on
right.
8th.
Eighth.
Left
Yes.
on 8th.
Eighth. What's Weller?
Weller's the other one going up and down.
Got it. Sorry,
All right.
I thought I was from Seattle.
There you go.
Close enough. All right, now we got to go eat something because
But on behalf of our sponsors, A Advanced Services, Feeds Networks, and our newest sponsor, Warrior Injury Law, thanks for tuning in this day drinking episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Day drinking.
Want a slam dunk space for your next event? We're here at the Creative Block Studios in Seattle, Washington, which is also the Ask Valor Mastermind studio. Great place for product demonstrations, sales trainings. We've had our 100th episode here. Photo shoots, great for photographers, videographers.
I love the idea of having a party. Let's say you have kids and they want to play video games. Come down and rent the studio at $250. You can have a bunch of multiple screens put up in different gaming systems.
And $250 is for the whole day. You have it for a full 9-hour slot. So if you want to, for 2 hours, 4 hours, the full time, $250 flat rate with all the resources available, Wi-Fi, private space, right outside the heart of Seattle. So easy to get to from multiple people coming from all over the place. But what a great promotion. Just to the end of 2024. Check out Creative Block Seattle.